Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It's time for our weekly recap of The Shy. This is season 5, episode 2, and it was titled, Oh Girl. Alright, y'all, before I jump into this recap review, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And if you end up liking this recap review, go ahead and hit me with that thumbs up button. Alright, y'all, so let's just jump into it. This episode was kind of like, womp womp. I don't know, like... I don't know what it was supposed to give, but it really ain't give me a lot. The only thing that made it funny and cute to watch was Shad. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I like Shad. Now, oh my God, what has happened? I like Shad, actually. Ooh, child. Anyway, we see Tracy, because it picked up where it left off last week, where Tracy opening up the door for Duda. What is that guy? What is the old guy's name, y'all? I can't remember his name. But she opened up the door for Duda and her baby daddy, pretty much. And she like, why y'all in here looking like a Stacey Adams ad? Like, why is y'all here? And he like, basically the old timer, her baby daddy, he want the streets of Chicago to be ran the way it was in the past, where the gangs running the streets and all that other stuff. And he ready to take it back and get it popping the way it was. And he was like, you supposed to bribe the cops, not fire the cops or whatever. But that was actually Duda's doing of firing the cops. That ain't really had nothing to do with Tracy. And so Tracy like, well, no, I built Rock and I built what's that other thing she got going? Something else. She was like, I built those and I don't want it taken over by the gangs and I don't want it to be tarnished and yada yada yada. And so her baby daddy like, well, how you think you got that? And so Duda, she looking at Duda like, well, you know, I got it from him. So she put two and two together and was like, so you the quiet investor or whatever. And so he was like, yeah, and I'm ready to speak and y'all gonna do what I need to be done or whatever like that. And at first she was like, well, you not my daddy. And then so when he basically was like, well, he the silent investor and he ready to talk, he was like, well, who's your daddy now? And then Tracy was just looking stunned like, dude, I can't believe you put me in this predicament. Like, I don't need this or whatever like that. So that's how that went. And then we see Emmett. He had his child. At first I thought it was like a slumber party. I thought it was a slumber party for his son with Tiffany. I didn't realize it was two of his other kids, child. I be forgetting Emmett got all them kids because we don't ever see him. So he basically had his sons over or whatever. It seemed like, because he said it was a 4 days. So I guess they had like an extended weekend, or maybe it was Christmas break. Who knows, child? But he had the kids over and they, you know, playing games and stuff, and he talking to them, feeding them. He read them a story and all that other stuff. He doing what his daddy should do. And not the one son was like, what? Because he was like, you need to do X, Y, and Z. He was like, why? Because I'm your daddy. Only on the weekends. I said, oh, shit. I was dead. I was dead, child. So then what had happened? Oh, I told y'all about the whole Duda thing and all that other stuff, because they had bounced back and forth. But we see Emmett again. He cooking, it's the morning time. He cooking breakfast for the children and all that other stuff. And he watching Delroy. Is that his name? Delroy or Delray? Whatever his name is, child. He on like an Instagram live talking about these women we need to do a semen retention because these women don't what do you say? These women don't value us and we need to put these women on hold and yada, yada, yada. I say, what is he listening to? And so then Tiff, she pop up so she get her son or whatever. And he like, well, she was like, oh, I see you got daddy duty this weekend. He was like, yeah, for the last 4 days, it'd be nice if my wife was here to help me out and yada, yada, yada. He was like, it's been 3 against 1 all for 4 days or whatever. And she was like, well, if he was acting right, then he would have some help or whatever like that. And then he talking about, well, he's thinking about going celibate, because that's what the whole video, the Instagram live was about. And so she was like, boy, bye, you is not going no damn celibate. You go celibate for like a hot second until some pretty old young thing come up in your face, and then you done with that. And so he said something about her staying with her mama, and she was like, no, I'm not even staying there no more. I'm staying with a friend. He was like, well, I don't want my son around some random ass nigga. And so she was like, well, he not random. I know him. Like, he supplied the weed for me and Dom business or whatever. And so he was like, no, that sounds like a random dude. You don't need to have him around my son, yada, yada, yada. So she's just like, all right, whatever. He gonna start his new school. You gotta pick him up at 4 o'clock. Don't be late, yada, yada, yada. And so we see the kids, they at school, or they coming in, they gotta go through these metal detectors, and they just chatting about what happened with Papa, because they done made a whole bunch of memes about him, child, and they is not cute. They is getting in Papa ass. And then they talking about Gemma and how Jake didn't drop Gemma off that morning or whatever. And so they was like, well, you just need to apologize. And then they telling Papa he need to apologize too. As they went through the metal detector, Papa gonna put the graded, what did he say? Because I think I wrote that ish down. Not all, talking about all the greats get dragged. I said, that is not an apology. That's what he gonna put on his Twitter, child. And so, Kevin and the sister, somebody put it in the comments, child, and for the life of me, I cannot remember. I'm gonna get it right next time, child. I think her name starts with a J. But they go through the metal detector, and the gaming stuff went off. So, like, Kevin had, like, the PlayStation 4 in his bag, and then the girl had the games. And so they was like, oh, y'all gotta go to the principal because y'all know y'all ain't supposed to be having that ish up in here. And so then Kevin cussed or something. And so they was like, now you gonna get in school suspension, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, come on now. It was not that serious. But we see Shad and Trig, they doing like a coat, not a coat raffle, a coat drive. They doing like a coat drive and stuff like that. And Shad trying to cheer Trig up, talking about some, man, I heard about men getting stood up at the altar, but I ain't never heard of them not even showing up for the proposal, man. She bold. I was cracking up. He was like, man, leave me alone. Leave me alone, man. He was like, well, I'm trying to cheer you up. You want to walk around here like Snuffleupagus. I was dying. Like, Shy be having me cracking up. And so Tracy come over there and saying like she got something that will cheer him up. And she opened up the Tribe magazine. I guess it's a Chicago printed magazine. And Trig is in it. And then he got like an honorable mention to maybe run for council or whatever. So he like, I can't even, they was like, oh man, that'd be good. You run for council. You got this, man. You got this or whatever. Shy, like, you could do this, man. You could do it your own way or whatever. And then when you get in there, you start wilding out. Tracy's like, no wilding out. But yes, to the running for the council. And so then he like, I can't because I'm a felon or whatever. And then Shy started going off. And so then Tracy like, don't worry, I got this. Like, I'm gonna talk to some people and maybe they can clean your record up or whatever. And so then Shy like, man, if she do that, you gotta run. You gotta run. You could be like Batman. No. You could be like Black Man. She was like, Shy, shut up. I was cracking up. We see Gemma and Jake, they texting back and forth in, well, she in her school, he in her school, but y'all know they texting back and forth and stuff, and she ends up telling him that they need to talk. Then we hear an announcement, and then say Jake reports to the principal's office or whatever, and then they like, oh, you in trouble, whatever like that. We see Tiff and Rob, they chatting in the house or whatever. And he wants to have like a man-to-man with Emmett or whatever. And she was like, I don't know about all that because he's not real good with talking to other guys because we tried an open relationship and it ain't really work out. And so Rob like, yeah, I wouldn't want that ish either. Like, you my girl, you gonna be my girl, whatever. Like, you my queen, and this D just gonna be yours, and that P gonna be mine or whatever. So she was like, no, this only belongs to me. He was like, oh, for real? And so she was like, yeah. And she was like, well, you don't like variety? He was like, if you doing it right, what I need variety for. I said, Rob, stay high, because his eyes like this. Like, I guess he owned the weed. You know, he supplied the weed, so he got a good old stash. But I was like, is it a scene where Rob ain't high? Because he stay like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, we see Jake in the principal's office, or not in the principal's office. I should just say like the main office or whatever. And then Kev and the girl, they sitting there or whatever. Jake like, y'all good? They like, yeah, we good, whatever. Jake, the reason why he got called to the office is because Jake's mom had popped up. Peaches, she popped up, and Jake like, Mom, what you doing here? She was like, well, you know, I came to see you or whatever, and I've been getting myself together. The receptionist looking like, I was cracking up when she was, like rolling her eyes and stuff. So she was like, well, I want to take you out early. And so then Jake was like, well, have you talked to Trig? And she was like, I don't need to talk to Trig or whatever. He was like, well, you do, because he my guardian. She was like, and so the receptionist like, well, your mama is on the list. She can take you out or whatever. And so then he was just like, all right, whatever. So then she ends up taking him out early. Kevin insists she in the office with the principal, and the principal like, why you bring this here? Like, you know you ain't supposed to bring this up in here. Basically, they want to start a gaming club. Another teacher came in. I think he was well, no, he probably wasn't a teacher. Maybe she was the vice principal. Because the other principal, I don't know, child, who was what, but this other guy came in there. He was like, well, he'll fit it into the budget to have a gaming club if Kevin and the sis run the club or whatever, and they have at least 5 participants in the club, he'll fit it into the budget or whatever. So they all excited and stuff like that, and they run out. We see Shad. They at the coat drive still, child. And this cute girl come in or whatever. She got a box of clothes and stuff. And then Shad like, oh, shit, you see pretty brown thick? Oh, man, I gotta go talk to her. Like, he damn near drooling. So I was like, pick it. Clean it up a little bit, Shad. But he go over there and he was like, can a nigga talk to you something real quick? I said, not a nigga. But you know he hood. So she was looking like, what? And so then he starts singing, can he take her out tonight? Can I take you out tonight? So he starts singing, child. Look, I ain't got no record deal. So anyway, he sang a little Luther to her. So she like, well, I miss me some Luther. What you know about that song? And so they start talking and stuff. And then at first, so Shad talk a lot. And so he just putting all his business, like he got diarrhea of the mouth. He just started putting his business out there. He was like, you know, I got out of jail. And then, you know, my boy Trig over there. But, you know, his real name Victor. And then, because he ain't popped nobody in the I was like, so she looking like you was in jail. So then he was like, well, because she was like, well, I gotta go. He was like, well, I ain't catch your name. She was like, and I ain't throw it. He was like, oh man. So then he go over there again. He apologized and stuff. He was like, he just wanted to be upfront with her and stuff like that. And he just want to take her out to dinner, you know, get to know her better and stuff. And he real smooth with it. So she does get, well, Lord mercy, I'm all tongue tied. She does end up giving him her number. And says, like, her name is Deja or whatever like that. And then he like, yes, I'm going to cherish this number or whatever like that. I was like, Shad better put it on her, okay? So then we see all the ladies together. Tracy, Jada, Nina, and Dre. We see all of them together and stuff. And so Jada ends up telling them that her and Darnell kiss. And so Dre getting all our feelings. Oh, man. Like, she was like, yeah, we was just talking. And then it was just like, we was in high school, whatever like that. And then Dre like, y'all ain't in high school or whatever like that. And y'all, you can't be doing that. You got swayed. Because, you know, Nina had cheated on Dre. So then Jada like, I ain't mean to trigger or nothing. So then Tracy like, trigger what? What's going on? Tell me and see, whatever. And so they was like, don't worry about it. And so Dre getting all of her feelings like, you know that's bad. You can't go back to Darnell or whatever. And so then Nina was like throwing me off because I was like, was she saying she was bored in a relationship with Dre? That's why she cheated with the brat. Like, I was confused about that because the way Nina was throwing in stuff to myself, well, maybe she bored and her relationship stable or whatever. And then she was just like, maybe she in a comfortable rut. And like, she was just saying all these things. And I was just like, but that's not why you told us you cheated. You cheated because you thought that she was cheating on you with Jada. So, like, was it because y'all was bored? You was bored in a stable relationship? Or y'all was in a rut? Like, because did y'all hear the way Nina was just throwing, like, jabs? I was just, like, confused or whatever. So, at any rate, Dre is basically like, Sway is the one. He was the one taking care of you. He been there and stuff like that. And everybody who in a relationship should go to couples therapy and stuff like that. And Nina like, don't start with that. And so it was just like weird. I was just like, okay. Like, is y'all not good or is y'all good? Because we never did really address the whole cheating thing. It's like Nina cheated. She told Dre she cheated. And then Dre went out and brought home a girl. The adopt. So it really wasn't spoken about, but Who is me, child? Anyway, we see Keisha and Tiff, they chatting and stuff like that. And I think Tiffany was taking out Keisha's twist. Maybe she twisted her weave or her wig. I was just like, is she removing the hair from her hair? But no, because it looked like she fluffing it. It was confusion. I was confusion with that as well. But Tiff says she over Emmett and that she wanna that Rob might be her Russell Wilson. I said, okay, girl. We see Jake and his mama, they going, well, the mama going down memory lane and stuff like that. And he like, well, where you been? She was like, I've been just trying to get my life together and stuff. I've been trying to stay clean. And, you know, I'm ready to be back in your lives and stuff. And she was basically saying, like, she needs to talk to Trade. So, in class, they talking about NFTs and all this other stuff. And then the teacher ends up saying, like, this girl Simone sold her first NFTs. And which is like basically digital money, basically like Bitcoin. So Kevin looking, and so then he started having flashbacks to Maisha party, and he had actually danced with the girl, whatever. So class over. Of course, Kevin, you know, he in love and stuff, child, because he get in love in the second, like, child. So he go talk to the girl. And he like, well, you know my name, Kevin. She was like, I know. And he was like, and we had danced at Maisha party. I don't know if you remember. She was like, I remember. And then she was like, are you interested in stars and galaxies? And he was like, huh, what? She was like, do you think it's other people in the world or whatever, like in the galaxy and stuff like that? And he was like, I mean, I guess or whatever. She was like, oh, okay. She was like, you want to get together and look at the moon sometime? And he was like, yeah, sure. She was like, all right, I'll hit you up, but I only texting emojis, okay? And he was just like, what the fuck? I said, not texting emojis. Bitch, that would irritate the hell out of me. Like, we're not going to keep sending back smiley and heart faces. That would irritate me. I was just like, she a little weird one, okay. But back at the coat drive, we see Shy, and he's talking to Trig, and he's saying he's going to take her to the basement, you know, Deja to the basement and stuff, because he got his fried shrimp Alfredo and stuff, and then he going to make his cheddar biscuits and whatever like that. And Trig like, if she don't like the cheddar biscuits, man, she ain't the one for you. So they start talking, and then who pop up? Jake and Peaches. So I'm like, so then Trig like, Ma, what you doing here, whatever. And so Shy go over there, oh, Miss Taylor, I ain't seen you in a minute, man. I ain't seen you in a minute. How you doing? You just got out of rehab. She was like, mind your business. So she like, how he gonna give me more love than you or whatever? He was like, well, you know, he thinking in his mind because I know you or whatever. So then Shy take Jake away. So basically he's talking to his mama, Trig, and Peaches, they talking. And she need a place to stay. She need a place to stay because she don't got no, she basically home and she just got out of rehab, child. She don't got no job and stuff like that. Cause she like, well, I need to stay with you. He was like, well, how long that's going to be? Cause we got our family, you know, situated or whatever like that. So like, how long that's going to be? And so he was, she was like, I don't know. So he was like, cause you gotta get a job, you gotta get your money right. That could be 6 months to a year or whatever like that. I don't need you coming in here and messing up stuff. So then, the mama just looking like, I mean, but I'm trying to show you basically or whatever. And he was like, love just ain't a word. Cause no, she was like, I love you or whatever. And so he was like, love just ain't a word. It's how you show up or whatever. Cause he don't trust her. He don't trust that she gonna stay clean because it's been like a revolving door with her or whatever, which I understand. So he not really like, or whatever. We at the, Smokies. This one dude, he ordered everything off the damn menu. Then Emmett ends up looking at the time. He's like, oh shit. So of course he late. He gets to the school talking about he was in traffic and all this other stuff. And the teacher or whoever she was like, is you EJ daddy? He was like, yeah. You know, I'm sorry I'm late or whatever. She was like, oh, well, he was already picked up. And so he was like, picked up by who? She was like, well, Robert, somebody, was on the list or whatever. She was like, oh man, got that random nigga. So then he mad or whatever. He goes to the house, Rob's house, to pick up EJ, and so he banging on the door, whatever like that. And so, of course, he's like, where my son at? Where my son at? You don't need my son or whatever like that. He was like, oh, he good, man. He good. Like, he's super good or whatever. And so he was like, nah, you get my son. You tell Tiff she need to call me or whatever like that. And so Rob like, I'm just a team player. I'm a team player, whatever like that. Ain't no team. We don't even know you, nigga. We don't even know you. So then he taking EJ to the car talking about he a team player and some random nigga. He just going off. He ends up calling Tiff and going off on her talking about you got some random nigga on the phone, picking up my child. And she was like, well, you should have picked him up at 4 o'clock. It ain't my fault you was late and you ain't show up. Like, show up and then other people won't pick up my son or whatever like that. And so she ends up hanging up on him. And Keisha like, just go easy on him. Go easy on him. And so they get ready to go out to the club. So they go out partying, you know, get their hot girl winter on or whatever like that. We see Sway and Jada, they about to do. And that's when Jada wanted to take the time to blurt out, I kissed Darnell. And so he like, what the fuck? So then he was like, would you want to be with him or whatever like that? And so she was like, no, I mean, he was like, just because he made you some pork chops and was rubbing on your feet, don't mean he ain't hurt you. Like, y'all got history or whatever. And she was like, I know. He was like, because I love you, Jada. She was like, I love you too. And then he was like, you ready to fight for us? And she was like, yeah. So then they get back to doing the do. Jake and Gemma, they talking or whatever like that, and he tells her that he effed up, and she like, can you elaborate? And so he do elaborate. He said that, you know, he was mad at something else and he took it out on her and he apologized or whatever like that. They start chatting. He ends up rapping Biggie's song to her and stuff. I say, oh, ain't y'all cut you? So then she know everything. She like, I heard your mom came to pick you up. He was like, who told you? Papa told you that? And so then he was like, what else she said? Oh, and Amani ain't show up or something like that. And he was like, dang, man, I'm surrounded by snitches. And so she was like, no, not surrounded by snitches, just people who care about you and stuff, because, you know, it's hard when people leave you, they feel like they abandoned you or whatever like that. He was like, yeah, you right. And so they start kissing and stuff. And so, of course, Shy busts in there and I was like, break this stuff up, man. We hungry. So then they start praying over the meal and stuff because, not Emmett, Jesus. Trig ends up allowing Peaches to come in. So Gemma had met Peaches and stuff like that. And so it was a cute little moment. They did they was having like family dinner and stuff. I was like, oh, Trig. So anyway, so Duda, he doing an interview, and the lady basically asking him questions like, where you been, why you run and stuff, and he giving fluff answers and stuff. So like he needed a mental health day, and he hired a therapist, and then he good, and he want to thank the mayor for stepping in, because you know the mayor is Candy, and so stepping in and taking the place for him, all this other stuff. And so she was like, well, where'd you go? He was like, I went to visit an old friend. So then Tracy, we flipped into Tracy apartment or whatever, her house. And so she like, well, I saw the interview and stuff, and I think you full of shit. He was like, why you say that? I'm a changed man. She was like, we shall see or whatever. He was like, what you want? She was like, I want you to clear Trig's record because he trying to run for council and he can't run for council with a record or whatever. And he was like, why would, because he was thinking like he wanted to run for mayor or something. She was like, no, he want to run for council, because he was like, well, didn't he learn anything from me? And so she was like, well, he want to run for council and mayor, that's two different things. He can really make some changes in the city or whatever. So Duda was like, all right, well, I got him, but I gotta make some calls. But if I do this, he gotta listen to me. He gotta do what I say. He gotta listen. He can't do no back talk. She was like, well, he not a child. And he was like, but I'm just saying, you need to tell him, he need to listen to me. He need to do what I say, yada, yada, yada. She was like, all right, I'll talk to him about that, whatever. But right now, I'm the boss. Get naked. I said, okay, Tracy, you better tell him, girl. Anyway, we see Trig looking out the window because he in the office with Jim and Daddy. And so he like, I told that nigga to run and never come back. He gonna come back. And so Jim and Daddy like, it's all good. He was like, what you mean it's all good? He left you for dead or whatever. And he was like, no, but we got him on tape and we can hold that over his head or whatever. So it's good or whatever. So then he tells him that he want to run for council and stuff. And he like, but I got a record and that's supposed to be getting taken care of. It's supposed to be cleared or whatever. And so he was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, who doing it? He was like, well, Tracy said she was gonna make some calls and stuff. And he was like, okay, well, you know, you might want to figure out a new name because Trig ain't gonna look good on the ballots and stuff. He was like, well, my real name Victor. And he was like, all right, I like that. Yeah. So then we see Rob and Tiff And Rob asked if Emmett is okay, and she like, yeah, he alright. I told him he gonna be okay, and he gonna be okay or whatever. And so Rob basically like, I don't like messy. We need to figure out what we are. She want to have her freedom. She want to have her hot girl winter and not be in a relationship because she don't really trust that a man can be faithful. And he want to be in a monogamous relationship, but he not going to force her to be in a relationship if she don't really want to be in a relationship. So she got to make a choice. Like, you want to run in these streets or you want to be with me? So then he, cause she was like, well, I'm not ready to be no couple or whatever. He was like, well, we smashed and we living together. So she like, so he basically like, well, you got some thinking to do. So then we see Emmett and Sway, they out bowling and stuff. And Sway, he got the knee pads, child. He got the bowling glove. He take that shit serious. And so they start talking, and Sway asked him, like, how he feel about Jada and him being together, how Emmett feel. And he was like, look, I ain't here to talk about my mama. I came to bowl and eat these nachos. And he was like, but I feel like this is the happiest I ever seen her. But also, if my mama not happy with you no more, I gotta go with that decision or whatever. So he was like, oh, okay, or whatever. And so he did ask, so then Sway asked about Tiff, and he was like, well, how you know about Tiff? He was like, well, her mama told my mama, and then it went around in a circle or whatever. He was like, damn. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyway, so he was like, well, how you feel about Tiff moving on or whatever? And he was like, I don't feel nothing about that, but she got some random dude and stuff like that. He was like, well, moving on is good and healthy. It's good and healthy or whatever. And so he was like, well, what you gonna do? He was like, well, I'm just gonna focus on my sons or whatever. And so he was like, all right, that's good. And so then Emmett get up there, he start bowling and stuff. So, child, Jada in her living room, she got the wine, she got a cute little dress on, her little slides on. It was like she was prepping for a call. So I'm like, I know it ain't for Sway because he out bowling with Emmett. Child, Darnell called her on the FaceTime, and she like, because her phone was ringing, she was like, okay. Hey. Hey, girl, you doing too much for some man you don't really want. So then they start talking and stuff like that. And of course, Darnell, he like, if you don't drop that appetizer and come over here for this full course meal or whatever like that, because we got history together. And she like, yeah, we got history of you getting my hopes up and then you letting me down or whatever. And so he was like, no, I'm just saying, all you got to do is say word and I'm there or whatever. And so she like, all right, whatever, Darnell, I'll talk to you later. And so they hang up, and then she's smiling because you can tell like she like it. She liked the attention Darnell giving her because they do got history. She probably still got love for him. They got a kid together. They still was cool and friends and all the other stuff. And so like she liked the attention that she getting from Darnell. So I'm like, girl, don't make this messy. Do not break this young man's heart, okay? Because he is there for you or whatever. But child, I feel like it's gonna be messy. I feel like her and Darnell I feel like that. But anyway, Tracy tells Trig that Duda got his record erased because Trig came over to the house. And Trig not happy. He like, if I would have known he was involved, then I would have told you, never mind, I wouldn't try to run for this council shit or whatever like that. And so here go Duda getting all in his head and all this other stuff. And I was like, I just had the city eating out my hand, and I was born to be a politician and all this. I said, here he go with this King Kong ain't got nothing on me shit. I said, Lord have mercy. So then Trig like, look. So Tracy trying to like separate them, and so then she was like, well, you do this job, you're gonna make $100K a year, okay? Like, you gonna do this or whatever. And so then they end up, somehow, I missed the little part of it, but somehow it was like, well, you gonna need a woman on your arm to make it look like you a family man and all this other stuff. And so Trig was like, Imani not coming back. They was like, well, we want to talk about her anyway. Well, that's what Duda had said. And so then he called out some girl that's his play niece or whatever. And she not his niece. She not related to him or nothing like that. I guess he basically paid her to play his niece to make it look like he a family man or whatever. And now he wants her to date Trig to make it look like he in a stable relationship, yada, yada, yada. And Trig like, well, what you getting out of this? She was like, well, attention, basically. I might get some deals or yada, yada, yada. Publication, like I might get a whole bunch of stuff, like, but we not worried about that. We worried about you right now. And so they got these NDAs they want Trig to sign and all this other stuff. So then he looking like, no, I ain't with this shit. And so he walks out. Then we see Nina and Dre. They getting all dressed up and stuff. And then we find out they getting dressed up for couples therapy. So I'm like, okay, it seemed like they went to couples therapy at one point. And then maybe they stopped going and then they going again. Because the lady was like, it's good to see y'all, how y'all doing. Like, it's good to see y'all again, how y'all doing or whatever. And then we see Shad. He got the meal all on the table. He got fresh shrimp, fresh noodles. He said he made them himself. And she looking like, oh my God, this is so perfect. He got the Moscato. And she like, oh. And so he was like, well, I mean, it ain't the best wine. And so then she offered to take him to like a wine tasting and stuff. And then they giggling and stuff like that. And they looking into each other's eyes. They about to bow chicky wow wow. But Shy like, no, let's go ahead and eat this meal and stuff. And you gonna drink this wine. I pay $8.99. So then they do that. And then Papa phone blowing up. Aisha came over to the house to talk some or whatever like that. Or, to let him know like, dude, you tripping. And so he finally do like a real apology with a little bit of shade towards Jake about stealing somebody's girl. But he do like an IG live video apologizing and stuff like that. So he did it right that time. And then we see Emmett. He back home and he listening to Delroy, whatever his name is, telling him to be celibate for 40 days or whatever. And so, Emmett like he ready. I said, boy, stop. Okay, we gonna see how this go, because he can't play with himself. He can't talk to nobody. He can't do no hit and go. He can't do nothing. Okay, so we gonna see how 40 days. I don't think he gonna last 4 hours. Anyway, y'all, that was the episode. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about it down there in them comments. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And if you end up liking this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. All right, y'all, until next time. Peace.